it's a process, and so sometimes you don't appreciate how great of a regular season it really was. We pay attention to detail throughout the entire season, scouts, vitamins, our player development. We pay attention to that and focus on it throughout the entire season. I just think it intensifies during the playoffs because it's one team, one focus on both ends of the floor. So it's just intense, and I have to say the excitement raises as it should. The season shortened, and obviously you have the Larry O'Brien within 2 months if you can get there.
Vin Baker is here for our last film room of the season. Of course, All-Star, Olympic gold medalist, NBA champion, assistant coach, and you've done some of this TV stuff too. So we got to add broadcaster to the resume. Playoff time, so we appreciate you taking a few minutes just reflecting. How did the regular season go for the Milwaukee Bucks?
I think it was obviously a great regular season from a record standpoint. Ended up being the number one seed throughout the entire playoffs, if we're fortunate enough to get throughout the entire playoffs. So, but I think it had its ups and downs and different as anybody else's seasons. I think the 16-game winning streak was amazing. But interestingly enough, we've had great regular seasons, since Bud has been here. And but I think it was a lot of fun for the new guys getting adjusted. I will say, when you have a goal like we have, the regular season is great, and we work on building great habits. It's a process, and so sometimes you don't appreciate how great of a regular season it really was until the ultimate season starts.
And you talked about the ultimate season. We are in the midst of that now. How do things change in this building? We're in the SSC, the Sports Science Center right now, the Bucks practice facility. How do things change around here when the postseason begins?
Well, it's just much more intense. We pay attention to detail throughout the entire season, scouts, vitamins, our player development. We pay attention to that and focus on it throughout the entire season. I just think it intensifies during the playoffs because it's one team, one focus on both ends of the floor. So it's just intense, and I have to say the excitement raises as it should. The season shortened, and obviously you have the Larry O'Brien within 2 months if you can get there.
Yeah, you talked about the individual work, and you work closely with a guy named Brook Lopez. Having a phenomenal year. I get excited talking about it. Career highs in three-point percentage, blocks per game, and we see the goofy side, we see the love for Disney, but you get to see the competitor.
Yeah.
What is it like in what the Bucks call vitamins, that individual work? What is Brook's approach to that? So
Brook, like Giannis and all of our guys, really pays attention to detail. He's very focused. He's very competitive. I think everybody knows that, and if they don't know it, he's a super competitive guy. One of the most competitive players we have in the league. Obviously, he's in the running for Defensive Player of the Year. But offensively, he really focuses on just the fundamentals of his shot. What he does, he's so gifted and talented at 7'1", 7'2". He can do everything on the floor. So it's wonderful to work with him because he literally can. If I say something to him, or any of the coaches say anything, he can actually, do it. And that's not every player in the league. So I think his focus, his competitive nature, his basketball IQ is what's got him to having the season that he's having now.
Yeah.
And it's a pleasure to work with him because he's like my little brother. Yeah. So it's like working with my little brother, not working with Brook Lopez.
Yeah. How do you approach putting together those workouts? Because he can do everything offensively, how do you pick what you're going to focus on a given day?
So I think it's helped because I've been able to watch his game for the last 5 years. And I think it also helps because I played the game and know what I think will work for him in his game. He has way more in his package than I did. And so being able to shoot the three ball the way he can effectively and have people come out and try to chase him off the three-point line, we've been able to, add some stuff getting downhill, getting to the rim a little bit more. He has everything. This is just a matter of us watching some film, talking through our vitamins to see what's available to him, and he's executed everything we've talked about.
We talked about offense, now defense, the blocks, right? That's what stands out, his ability to protect the paint and the rim. Why is he so effective in that area without fouling, too?
Well, I think he would say this. I've watched multiple interviews of him talking about his block shots and his, prowess defensively. He has great timing. He's huge. He's competitive, so he takes on the challenge of people trying to challenge him. But I also think he said this before in interviews, and it helps when you have Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton, Giannis, all of his teammates, Wes Matthews, Jay, all those guys really putting pressure on the ball to get them to go downhill, and then Brook just does what he does.
You all have I don't know if you want to call it a handshake, a movement. How did that come to be? It's like you put your heads together. I see it pregame.
Yeah.
I see it sometimes when he comes back to the bench after having impactful plays. How did that develop?
I think it's just, this was like 5 years ago. It just a mutual respect and love for each other. I think he said it. He loves working with me, and I love working with him. And, it just became a friendship, over the past 5 years. And I think it was in the bubble, like I walked out and, the situation with the bubble was really tough for everyone being in the bubble. And I walked out one day and he sits on the bench at about 2 minutes left in the warm up. And I just walked up and put my hand on his head and told him some great stuff. You're great, you're amazing. Let's have a great night. And it just started from there, and we've continued to do it.
How important are relationships in what you do out there on the court with not just Brook, but all these guys?
Relationships are everything.
Yeah.
Like, to me, it's that old saying, people don't care what you know until they know that you care, right? And so my relationships with Brook, Giannis, Bobby, all the guys, it's important that we build trust. I think they know that I know what I'm talking about. Yeah. Based on being on Bud's staff and playing, but they also have to know that I care about what they think in their own game and what their own personal achievements are and team goals are. And so they know that I care. I've played, so I know what the relationship feels like. Yeah. I know what that player wants from a coach. And so I pride myself not only in being able to execute what we're trying to do in vitamins and game plan, but I pride myself in having a personal relationship. I think that is the most important part of what I can do as a coach. Yeah.
Before we wrap up here, it's so clear the gratitude that you have just to be able to coach the best team in the NBA right now. What's your favorite part of this job?
I think you said it, or I think the relationships. I love to win. I'm as competitive as anybody in this building. Yeah. Coach Bud, Giannis, Brook, our front office, but I think the relationships that you build during this journey, we obviously have a great basketball team. We have great expectations, but I think it's important that we understand we're people and we're human beings. And so I pride myself in coming in here trying to put smiles on people's faces, trying to be positive, have a good spirit, because I think those things translate in the job. I think they show up at some point in the job. And again, the trust factor. If we have a friendship and a relationship, if I say something to you, it's not Coach Baker, it's Big Brother Baker, right? Yeah. So I think that's the important part of the job.
Yeah, and I think everybody around here sees you that way as Big Brother Baker.
Yeah.
Vin, thank you so much.
Thanks, sir.
Appreciate it.
Of course.